There he is.
Okay, for someone like Nick and I, you want to tell them reset the
Are we live?
Oh, we're live.
Okay.
We're at that point of the season where we're just talking random.
Yeah.
No, and we're gonna get to some football in a second. So your question is,
what's harder, making a jump shot in an NBA game, like 15-foot jump shot, making a yard in an NFL game, or hitting a baseball pitch from a major league average pitcher?
So for a guy my size, Nick's size, normal humans that didn't play football, getting a yard in an NFL game would be harder for us. I think we might get lucky. Might not.
Baseball.
Baseball's the easiest?
No, hardest.
Yeah.
Baseball, I think is the hardest, but I think you might get lucky. I'm not getting a yard lucky. I can't fall into a yard in an NFL college football game. I don't believe.
Are we? Yeah. That's...
Yeah, I like that one. I think that it is probably baseball because no matter how much you prepare physically, it's still hand-eye coordination and like tons of reps, and we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Maybe
but baseball sucks.
Wait, a yard in football? You got to have like a good offensive line, a lot of other things have to go right to get a yard.
Yeah, but basically if it's you versus Shamar Turner, you're not getting the yard. No. But that's not the scenario. You have an offensive line protected for you. So theoretically, theoretically, there's a chance that you have a hole to run through, and there are times when even you and I could get a yard.
This offensive line has done really well on 4th and 1. So if they're blocking for me, I'm getting that yard. Why quiet? They've done. Aren't they like 4 for 4 on 4th and 1? Something like that.
I've lost count.
Yeah, they've done good.
I don't know.
Maybe so.
Anyway, so I joked with Steven earlier. I feel like we're in the off season, even though we're not. We still got 3 games to go.
Yeah.
Where are you with this program heading into this Mississippi State game? Because they can still make something of the season. They can. Yeah,
I mean, look. I think me and McGee both, we've both been there and in that locker room as players, and I feel for those guys. Yeah. That's the first thing that comes to my mind because I know that those kids have a bunch of heart. I know that they want to win. I know that there's a lot of talent in there, and I know that they believe in each other. So I feel for the locker room, and it's always tough. And I can't even imagine in today's world that we live in with these phones and Twitter and, just constant hate mail and just haters. It's not fun, I'm sure. And so I feel for those kids because I know that they want to win, but it's just not happening. And I think that we're a poorly coached team, and it's got to get better.
Yeah, it's the thing is they can still make something. Not what everybody wants. The negativity world wanted at least 9 wins, right? Theoretically, they can win out. I'm not saying they're going to beat LSU. I understand the doubt because all these games, that one possession games that A&M keeps losing. But if you go into an offseason at 8-4, it sucks. But it's so different than 7-5. That one game makes all the difference, in my opinion, in how you go into your offseason.
Yes and no. I mean,
3-game win streak.
Yeah, but I don't think that. I mean, I know how much money has been poured into this football program and how much, all the resources that these donors continue to give. And I think that, my expectations are a lot higher than what we're doing year in, year out. There's no reason why we shouldn't be competing for an SEC West championship year in, year out. Yep. Next question.
Yeah.
Steven, any thoughts?
Yeah, I completely agree with Ryan. And I think that's all their expectations as athletes. They know that even if they were to win out and had they beaten Ole Miss and beaten LSU, I think we said this last week, that they were going to be disappointed. So the bar is just too high. They're too good at football players, and they know that. And I think that's going to be the expectation for a long time around here.
All right. The fact that it was Ole Miss this past weekend, the history in the last few years with them beating A&M, the Jimbo Lane, the way that game was, it started going one direction. They may get blown out, it felt like, for a moment. Then they take the lead in the 4th quarter, only to lose the lead, and then have the ball and have a chance. and then to have your field goal tipped. Like, just all that. Does it make it worse because it was Ole Miss?
Yeah, it's Lane Kiffin. I mean, it's like losing to your little brother. Can't stand that guy. Like, he's a good football coach. I got to respect him. Like, he wins football games, but it doesn't mean I have to like him.
Yeah.
And I get tired of his little antics. Like, just win football games. He's always trying to act cute, and it drives me crazy listening to him, I'll be honest with you. But neither here nor there. The football team looked different in the second half, and I loved that. You know, they ran the football, offensive line controlled the line of scrimmage there. And I felt like if we weren't backed up against the clock with only one timeout, that at the end we would have scored again and we would have run the football. But because we were in predictable passing situations and up against the clock, it didn't play into our favor there, right? But I like what happened late in the game. Now, we've got to protect the football. Max knows that. He's got to be a bet. Even when he didn't get the actual interception carded, that can't happen.
Yeah.
Right? There's just too many careless mistakes he's making with the football. And that can't happen with a team like what we have right now.
Man, I got a question. So that first drive out the second half, we get down there on the 5-yard line, we throw that interception. Well, so I saw Max freaking out. He was like freaking out about something. Did you see kind of his reaction after all that went down?
He thought it was supposed to go. He thought Adias was supposed to do something else. From Jimbo's body language on the sidelines, I think he was telling Max, "You don't throw that ball." That's how I took it.
I thought it was the angle of the route. I think he threw a little high. At first, when I was on the field, I thought that it was, he thought he was uncovered. You know, that sometimes happens whenever but being that he's in the slot, I think he definitely saw the defender there. I think that his expectation, he was going high on the route where Anias, and I think what Jimbo was saying is that route goes to the post. You run that to the middle of the post. So I think the ball location, if you're going to throw it, has got to be to the post. So I don't know. I could be wrong, but it was perplexing.
Man, I don't like that call on first down either.
Throw that one out of bounds, or throw that one to the fade ball on the sideline to number 9.
Or just run the football.
Fair.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, bottom line, you're right. We got to take care of the football. You turn the ball over, you're not going to win football games, and that's been our problem. I think that the turnover battle has just hurt us all year.
Yeah.
You turn over you can't turn the ball over. You really can't have both things happen. A receiver go off for 200 yards and a running back go off for 100 yards.
Yeah, who is that guy? He's going to be a first-round pick off of this.
He was a transfer that A&M was interested in, Trey Harris, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Jeez.
Has he done that every week?
He's had a good season. He's absolutely, but not that. Jermaine Burton, really good season. He owned A&M in the Alabama
That
game.
guy was going up on top of people and making plays. Like, it wasn't just
that dude
average catches. He was putting on a clinic. And he's big.
That one-handed snag.
That was one of my questions I had. Like, how does a guy like that get passed by all the major Power 5 conferences? Somebody would have to say, what do you sign 2-3 receivers every year on average in a recruiting class to go to La Tech? I mean, just look at his frame. The kid's 6'3" and he can run. You'd have to say, someone says, hey, like, let's take a chance on this kid.
So
it happens, man. These guys fall through the cracks.
He's had several 100-yard games this year, but his best game against A&M, his next best game against LSU, 153 yards. Mercer, 133. Auburn, 102. The rest are below 67, 26, 50.
Putting yards up against good teams, too, matters, and that's what scouts want to see.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised for that guy to go high.
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of A.J. Brown.
Yeah. Beast.
So, Stephen, what did you like about Max? We talked about the turnovers. You can't have that. But he did find some rhythm in the second half.
That's a tough SOB.
Yeah.
You got to respect him for that. He stands in there, man. He's competitive. You know that. The one thing about Max I would love to see is a little fire. He has it in him, but I want him to force that upon his guys. Like, I want the team to be able to rally around a kid. When you get off the mat and you've been hit for 1,000,000 times, it's hard. But if you get up with an attitude and your teammates see that, I think that they'll rally behind you for that. And there's got to be a fire in that huddle. And I think that's one thing that from TV or from the stands, it's harder to capture at times. But when you're down there and you're watching them, like, you got to have a Swope out there like rallying, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, no, I don't.
hole 17, you're down 2 holes.
Yeah.
It's time to make an eagle.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I honestly, I mean, with the exception of Naismith, I see it. But other than that,
but Nice is kind of quiet. But
yeah,
he does it with his play. He loud does it with his play.
And his intensity. You see it in his face.
Right.
You
but like, the raw guy, let's go, like strap it up. Like I'll never forget Johnny coming in my face and I was having a bad game against Ole Miss. And, he said some words that I shouldn't say on air, but it's like, let's go, baby. Like, let's go win this football game, And so having that vocal leadership, even if you're a freshman or whatever it might be, having that rah guy is crucial to have success. And people, it's contagious. Your defense hears it. Your special teams hear it. Those guys go out and want to go play harder.
This is a dumb question, but do teams recruit that? Right? Like,
I don't think we
I don't even know how you recruit that though.
I think you watch people when you're getting your 5 and 4, you want certain intangibles for your team to have, and somebody who's going to be if you think they're a 5 or 4 star, you need to find that 5 or 4 star guy, or maybe it's a 3 star like Anias that demonstrates that on the weekly basis. You got to have those guys.
And I'll tell you how you recruit that. You go in and you talk to these high school coaches.
Yeah.
I think that, and I don't necessarily know if we do a whole lot of that. And that is so important. I think that we get caught up in stars and film, and we forget what's most important, and that's character and that's leadership. And if we're not recruiting character and good leadership, and I'm not faulting these guys because I do think there's some really good quality guys in that locker room. But if we don't have enough of that here, we're just going to be a complacent football team. We're going to, we got to have some. I wouldn't mind seeing 2, 3 stars. We go get some really solid, with a chip on their shoulder.
What was Mike Evans? 3, right?
3 star.
And you?
I was a 3 star.
There you go. Say no more.
I think 3 stars is a great number to be, because like you feel like there's like wait,
there's an ability there.
Yeah.
Right? You can't sacrifice the ability, but then there's a chip on the shoulder.
Yeah, you got something to prove. And you're hungry and you're mad, hungry. You're pissed, and there's a fire underneath you. And so you come in here and it creates a sense of urgency that I feel like we don't have.
I got one for you. I just wanted to confirm, but Torian York was a 3 star. This dude's starting as a freshman, and making big plays. Like there are those dudes out there. They're
there.
Yeah, and I think this whole recruiting deal, like we get. What were you going to say?
No, go.
I was going to say this recruiting deal, like it's become like a trophy award. Who can get the best recruiting class, X amount of stars. And it's kind of a puppet show if you ask me. I mean, I think it's kind of silly. At the end of the day, who the kind of guys are we recruiting in here? Do they have good character?
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to be good quality leaders? Are they going to go to class? And then the rest is going to take care. Are they coachable? And so those are really important factors to building a championship football team.
I would venture. So looking at the 5 Heisman contenders right now, Michael Penix, the leader, and Jordan Travis, Florida State quarterback. I would kind of guess that neither one of those guys were 4 or 5 star players. Can you Google that?
I can Google that for
Patrick
you.
Mahomes?
I would assume.
Patrick Mahomes. There you go.
3 star.
I would assume Jordan
Baker
Travis
Mayfield.
was.
Maybe
Lamar
Jordan
Jackson,
Travis was.
Lamar Jackson.
Carson Beck,
3
J.J.
star.
McCarthy, Bo Nix. They were all big recruits, and they're playing well. But to your point, you can even get it at the quarterback position. Ryan Tannehill.
2 star out of Big Springs, Texas.
Unbelievable. But the right kind of chip on their shoulder. Guys are hungry, competitive. I like Max Johnson.
I do too.
3 stars.
3 stars.
Right?
Yeah, both of them.
So the kid, obviously, when the pocket is good, he can make some throws. We saw that again Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
When that pocket's clean, some things I really liked seeing was early play calls where they got the ball out of his hands. Remember we talked about that?
Yeah.
Did you notice like the stop routes we completed?
Oh,
how many weeks have we not thrown a stop route?
This is the first time I've seen it.
Yeah, threw a slant route. My gosh, screen passes. Like those types of things to get your drive going. Then what happens?
It opened up your run.
It opens up your run. What else happens?
Take a shot.
Now you can take a shot. And that D-line, did y'all see the D-line for Ole Miss in the second half?
They were
hands on their hips.
Yeah.
They were done.
I know.
They didn't want any more to do with that offense at that point in the game. And you're talking about an offensive line that has been much maligned. I mean, we were running the football. When have we said that?
You haven't. And it was Le'Veon at first, then he got hurt, then it was Amari Daniels.
You got to have extended drives. You can't have 3 and outs. That's why 3 and outs plague you, because even if you're not scoring, you're wearing on that defense, right? It's just punches in the ring. And they just start adding up. And you get in those late rounds, it takes one blow to the face, and then you're done, right? So to me, getting the ball out of your hands, it's going to be super important with this new guy. Quarterback runs, I'd imagine, are going to play a little bit larger part with the Fresno kid if he does end up playing. But if I'm the coordinator this week, I'm saying to myself, how can I limit what we're asking him to do? How can I get the ball out of his hands as quickly as possible and into the hands of Aniyah Smith and Evan Stewart and Noah Thomas and these running backs?
Yeah, no, 100%. Defensively, in these losses, the defense has been a problem, like a real problem. 3 of the 4 losses. There's a built-in excuse. You had, your starting cornerbacks weren't there. But at the end of the day, it's what the defense does as a group. They didn't, and I'll give Jackson Dart this. I mean, he did get rid of the ball quickly. He threw some beautiful passes, but you got to get.
He threw some dimes.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he was out there making it look easy.
And we didn't get, the unfortunate part, that last drive where they went down and scored and took the lead. You have to remember, they extended that drive because of 2 huge, costly PI penalties on balls where the quarterback got hit and they were just fluttering. Like, they very well could have ended up with interceptions. There was a couple of those where we didn't, it just so happened, it was a bad break, right? But then you get a PI on the ball and you're just saying to yourself, my gosh, like.
It's not meant to be. It's what it feels like.
Yeah, it was the curse, like right there at the end. So
I think penalties killed us.
Penalties really
in
do
the fourth
kill
quarter.
us
I mean, down there when we were driving in the red zone, I think that it was like a rub play. You know which one I'm talking about? They called the pass interference on the offense.
Just killed the drive. Yeah, it's such a bad call. It was the stick concept with the flat and the stick, and it's like, that's not a pick. That was a terrible call in my opinion. But yeah, it's
self-inflicting wounds.
That offense that we saw in the second half, let's just say Max is good to go. And if you can encapsulate that for these last 3 games, do you win these last 3 games? I know LSU's a big question mark with their offense, but you definitely have a higher chance of winning these.
I think you do.
I mean, I think we can.
You can run the football like that, you're going to beat teams.
Yeah, and I like how I think that our offense, we saw a little bit of different offense, quicker passes, ran the ball effectively. I think that we can win out.
Do y'all think Max Johnson plays?
I see. That's my thing. I don't think he's playing. I mean, I've had rib injuries, and those things don't heal overnight. They're really painful, and I don't think he's going to play.
I remember guys people don't realize how serious broken ribs are. I think they classify broken, but it's like a little tear in the cartilage and stuff.
And
then if you puncture a lung,
it's life threatening.
Yeah, it's bad. It gets dicey quick, and it's like everything you do just hurts.
Right.
Cough, sneeze, laugh, play call. I mean, there's a lot that goes into a rib injury.
So you have the well-being of the kid, right? As a fan, obviously we need Max out there to win, but there's the future of his career and everything else. I still believe, and I saw your little question about the list of the quarterbacks. I think that's BS. If you're talking about NFL quarterbacks, I get it. Max has his faults, but I really do believe he'll be an NFL quarterback. I think he'll be a long-term backup quarterback. That kind of fits what he is, but Jalen Milroe, Brady Cook, Spencer Rattler, Graham Mertz, Joe Milton, Devin Leary, KJ Jefferson in front of Max. Are you kidding me? I get it. Jalen Milroe's playing really good football, but we're talking about an NFL draft. You're telling me that an NFL team is going to take Jalen Milroe in front of Max Johnson based on what NFL quarterbacks are asked to do right now? I find that hard to believe.
That Saturday Down South list, Jaden Daniels 1, Carson Beck 2, Jackson Dart 3, Jalen Milroe 4, Brady Cook, Spencer Rattler, Graham Mertz, Joe Milton, Devin Leary, and KJ Jefferson. Yeah, that's Saturday Down South list. Before we go,
do you agree with that? You had him in the first round earlier.
Max
Jefferson.
I think Max is
KJ Jefferson.
KJ Jefferson. I don't know whose list is this.
Saturday Down South.
Okay, well,
Jaden Daniels is a baller. Carson Beck, dude's gotten better. He can make some throws. I get it. Jackson Dart, dude's playing good right now.
But I think
he's
Max,
kind of to me.
I think Max can outdo most of those guys on that list, if that's what you're asking.
Yeah, absolutely. In
Half
the
of
NFL
them.
system, because it's not just ability, but you got to be able to make throws in the NFL. Like if you're going to make an NFL roster, you better make some throws.
Right.
Yeah.
Like you can't just run around. Like that's not how the NFL works.
So before we go, if it is Henderson at quarterback, and if Will Rogers is playing, is this a game that A&M should still win?
Yeah.
We haven't seen Henderson, so it's very hard to say, right?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. We should single-handedly beat this football team because I think Mississippi State they've got bigger issues than we do right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You just never know in the SEC.
Well, I've hedged
You don't
my
know
bets. I've hedged my bets because if
You think
Mississippi State comes in here and wins, Nick Savage has told us that we can show up next Thursday and kick him in the you-know-whats. So he's already accepted that. He said there's no way that we lose to Mississippi State. He thinks they're that bad. Now,
Yeah, they are pretty bad.
they are bad. But in the SEC, and you don't get a good start, momentum's a funny thing in sports. You lay an egg early, you got a quarterback trying to figure it out. Heck, he's probably just trying to figure out the cadence. The offensive line's probably trying to figure out how he calls his cadence.
Yeah.
And you're backed up, pre-snap penalty. I mean, I'm telling you, the recipe is there for an upset.
Yep. Gentlemen, thank you very much for coming in.
Appreciate it, man.
Appreciate you.
Dig 'em.